Welcome to Shorty SuperCoach. What's going on, guys? We are back in business. Merry Christmas. You know, that's what you wanted for Christmas, wasn't it? Shorty's back in town. It's good to see you. Good to chat to you. Bit of a later return for myself, but I always say, oh, Jesus, dropped my lip balm. I always say each and every year, I don't put a set date on it as to when I return. I just get that feeling of SuperCoach and start thinking about it, and that hunger comes back, and I got to dive into the videos. So I hope you're back on board for Shorty SuperCoach once again. We're going to get into a little bit of a team picker in a moment, which is awfully saucy. Jeez, bit of a rusty start. But no, I hope you've been well. I mean, I've finished TAFE just the other week. Already got a job in the youth work industry, which is super exciting. I'm absolutely pumped about that. Start that late January. I've even converted over to an iPhone. Android guy no more. Shorty's an iPhone guy. But yeah, we'll get stuck into it once again through the pre-season. I'll have the club previews going on probably for the next couple of weeks. I'll go through them one by one and just talk about who I think's a lock, a breakout, bit of a bargain buy, look at some rookies. But if you've got any ideas of what you'd like to see on the channel, feel free to comment below and let me know what you'd like to see. And yeah, we'll get stuck into that pretty much all the way up into round one. Normally when I start, we don't stop. So we just churn out videos left, right and centre. So I'm really looking forward to it, getting stuck into it once again. And yeah, nothing better than starting with the old team picker. That just gets you awfully excited, gets the heart rate pumping just a little bit when you see, look at this, a little blank canvas. Gets you awfully up and about. Because let's face it, SuperCoach is a frustrating game, but pre-season is a beautiful time. You can chop and change, you can dare to dream, you can be optimistic, you can totally restructure your side at a drop of a hat. All the while we're getting pre-season information, and it's SuperCoach overload for most of us. But full disclosure, don't judge this team too hard that I'm about to produce, because this is absolutely live, and I haven't done that much research into SuperCoach aside from thinking about it in my head. Now, I think over time we'll see a lot of rookies show their face and really put their hand up to be selections. I'm not going to worry too much about rookies at this point in time. I think all you can really do is take a look at your premiums and maybe see what sort of structure you might be able to develop. But yes, I'll get stuck into it now. I always lose track of time because this bad boy, this will cut me off after 10 minutes, and somehow I lost track after 3. But let's dive into it, and let's start with the backline. But yeah, let me know how you guys are travelling, and if you've got anyone that you're absolutely locking and loading and really think you just cannot miss. You know, if there's a player that I don't pick and you think, Shorty, you've got to have him, then let me know. We're going to start with Tom Stewart. I think he's as reliable as they come. You know, obviously, we've got a lot of guns at this stage. I mean, Shannon Hearn was a bit of a surprise to be up and about at that stage, and even as expensive as he is, I really didn't expect him to be that good. Yeah, I'm literally just going to scroll through and just see what takes my fancy. I'll tell you who I will put in my team, and I've been thinking about him, and that's Nick Dacos. To have him in the back line, I think he's a lock, to be honest. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Well, I think at 500k, I really think he's going to average 3 figures. Potentially a bit more midfield time, but even off half-back, he's just such a good player. So, yeah, I'm going to find that pretty hard to go past him. Now, I'm not fully around a lot of the guys. Look, Andy McGrath, he definitely really light my fire. You know, Kadeem Coleman, could he be someone interesting? Look, I'm going to leave that just for now because I have a bit more clarity over the midfield, and each and every year I do love to have Clayton Oliver in my team. And look, at this stage of the year, you can be a bit saucy, so don't hold me to it. Don't judge me too harsh on a couple of speculative selections, but I do love Brayshaw. I think Jack Steele is a great option. How about getting Dunkley as a forward? I was prepared to start him if he was pure mid, but that is an absolute steal. I'm prepared to have probably 5 premiums in the midfield. I mean, Tom Green just really makes you think. Even someone like, oh, that's right, the forward line is stacked, isn't it? I'm going to start Tom Mitchell at this point in time. I think he could definitely be someone. Now, look at this. This forward line's insane. So I'm going to jump to the forward line because you got to have a lot. Look, I'm going Dunkley. I'm going Butters. I'm going to go Rosie, and I feel like there were more mid-forwards. Yeah, Taranto, my boy, welcome back, Timmy T. Man, absolutely destroyed me last year, but we're going to stick with him. And look, in all seriousness, Taranto's a lock. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you thought he did last year. He's going to the Tigers. He's going to be looking great, getting opportunity. Bang him in your side. And then, look, Dustin Martin will tempt a few. I don't think I can do it. And look, I've also really been thinking about the Ruck. And the Ruck is something that destroys me each and every year. You know, I start going finally, then I get cold feet and I trade him out after 2 weeks. Absolute nightmare. And I did trade in Jared Witts, who turned out to not be a bad selection at all. But it just goes to show my read on the Ruck has been terrible over the journey. I've been burnt with mid prices at times. But Tim English is who's going to lead my Ruck department. No Stephen Martin. I think at times last year he showed to be definitely the most mobile and agile Ruck in the game. And I do think he's got a 110 plus in him. And I just wonder what your thoughts are on this one. Rowan Marshall. Now, look, I'm more than happy. How weird does that look? Brody Grundy with the Ds. That just looks bizarre. I'm not interested in Grundy and Gawn. I'm sorry. I think it's past it. We talked about this last year and they stuck it up us. Well, Gawn certainly did. Grundy, with injury, really struggled. And now they're at the same team. Now, that might work well for Melbourne at times. It might not. But I cannot see it working brilliantly over the course of 22 weeks for our SuperCoach teams. And you're not going to start both. And picking which one thrives is going to be super difficult, particularly at this stage of the year. And even Darcy and Jackson, you know, that's going to be really interesting. I think Darcy's a great option. But what's the Luke Jackson effect? I don't know. So, yeah, that's going to be really, really interesting. I'm just going to bung in old Liam here. What's up, Reedy? Oh, no, you got to get a bit of dual position action. Nico, get in there, mate. So, look, what do we got there? 6, 8, 12 premiums. General rule of thumb is you don't normally find too much more than 13 premiums in your team, depending if there's a little bit of value. And I'm prepared to bite off a bit in this forward line because I genuinely think, look, Butters is a better player than that. He can average 100. And I think Rosie, the way he played after round 5 was irresistible. And I'm massive on Taranto. And I honestly think Dunkley could average around 115. So they just all pick themselves. I'll scroll through a bit. And look, I really don't think there's anything else. This backline I've probably got to attend to. So I might just... That's probably the bones of it. Like I said, I've got 6, 8, 12 primos there. Cash is starting to dwindle. We've got to find a bit of value in here. So I'm just going to cut this part of the video, stop it there. And as I get back into it, I'm just going to go sifting. As I said, I'm not overly knowledgeable on the depth of the players at this point in time. I haven't scoured through the lists yet. Like I said, I'll be doing the club by clubs over the next few weeks. So bear with me while I scroll. But we're going to see if we can find a couple of gems, particularly in this back line. How good is it to have some sun too, by the way? It's been a disaster of a summer so far. So this week is great. Got some mid-20s. Shorty's able to play some golf. How good is that? Let's dive into this back line. Now, look, as we go on, the depth... Look, people always talk about structures. Your structure will be defined by the depth of rookie. And what I mean by that is if there are 4 rookies in the back line that are going to play, and particularly you need, if you've got 4 rookies, then 2 are on field, 2 are going to score for your team. So if you've got a bit of confidence that they can pump out regular 70s, then you can probably get away with that. But I remember previous years, there might be one position where you go, geez, the rookies are so thin, and I definitely can't trust having too many more than 1 or 2 on the field. So you've got to change your structure to cater for that. But at this stage, we're just going to skim through and see what we like. I must admit, I'm not too concerned about structure at this point. Hayden Young's going to be a guy that I think many will feel is really on the up, and I definitely can see why. You know, Ken Himmelberg, boost those numbers right up, probably because he will play a full season off half back. You might think there's a little bit of value there. But really, look, Andy McGrath, I mean, is there an article at this stage where he might play? Because I can really see myself starting him. I really can. He's been a a really slow burn as a number one pick. He's been all like, oh, hello, set for positional switch. Hello, this is the stuff we like to see. Essendon star Andrew McGrath is expected to return to a defensive role next season. Okay. I don't know whether that helps or not. However, pushed in the midfield in recent seasons to inject some much-needed speed, McGrath struggled throughout the 22. Yeah, righto. Yeah, well, that's interesting. I was probably anticipating he might return to, or not return, but, probably I saw him as a midfielder. But maybe Scotty sees it another way. And to be fair, the Dons do have a lot of similar types in there. Yeah, so, look, that is an underwhelming SuperCoach career. He's played some good footy, but really at this point, 24, number one pick, it's probably underwhelming. And I think he was drafted in and around McCluggage and Taranto, or ahead of them, obviously. So, yeah, we'll keep scrolling by him. Because realistically, I probably got to get a bit of value under the 400k. My old mate Zach Williams. What's going on, brother? I mean, Salem's well under, isn't he? Keeping in mind for a bit of draft action. There will definitely be players that... Oh, Will Day. Mid-price madness. That's crazy. You don't have to have too many mid-prices. We all know that. If you're new to the game. Oh, there's one. Elliot Yeo. I'm going to chuck him in there for now. I mean, his body is an absolute disaster. There's no doubt about that. But if he can string some footy together, he's going to have a serious role. Oh, actually, guys, Hunter Clark. I'm just going to put him in there. I'm telling you, Ross Lyon will go, Hunter, get in the midfield, son, and be the beast that we need you to be. I'm big on that. Elliot Yeo, I can see him being dropped from my team in about 10 minutes. But Hunter Clark, I'm prepared to really put myself on that wagon at this stage of the year. Wow, Jack Bowes. That's interesting, isn't it? And you would think that he's going to find it tough to break into the Cats side, but gee, if he could. Look, at this stage, I mean, I'm just going to round it right out. Apparently, he's a bit of a chance to play. But yeah, like I said, I might have a little bit of a look at what's up and around here, but I think we're just gonna fill it out with some random names that light me fire. Charlie Constable, gosh. Charlie Dean, he's an old mate that we nearly thought. And Will Gould, the bloke that just never, ever seems to get a game. I tell you what, Shorty's eyes aren't what they once used to be. We're going to have to zoom that up. And let's scroll. Actually, I'll tell you who's real saucy for mine, and that's Caleb Sarong at 498. I'm just going to put him there just because if you're scrolling through the video, I just want you to see his name and say, look, he's someone to think about. But honestly, I wouldn't really consider him. It's pretty dangerous having that type of a selection in your midfield because I don't like mid-prices in my midfield, but there I am picking him. But hey, at this stage of the year, we can have a little bit of fun with it, can't we? Just scrolling through. Just seeing what's going on. There's Horn Francis. He'll be looking for a big year, no doubt about that. It's always weird seeing the players with different, like Hopper, you look at him and then you see the Tigers vest. You're like, just so weird, but got to get used to it. Nat Fife, 313. I mean, let's face it, if Fife gets fit, he's an absolute lock. But it's a big if because it's going to be tough. And I don't think, I mean, the batten's been changed. It's Brayshaw and Sarong's midfield now. It's not Mundy's and Fife's. But having said that, I still think Fife is going to have stints where he is in the midfield. Some days will be 50-50. Others he might be more forward. So if he has a decent pre-season, you got to put him in your team. My old mate Paddy Dow. What's going on, brother? Finn Callahan, I think, is a really interesting option. I can see him getting some serious opportunity with the likes of Taranto and Hopper gone. And I think there's a bit more movement with the Giants as well. I mean, I think is Ward still kicking? He's, there's just a bit of an aging midfield, and I think he could be someone that you might want to select. I mean, Ashcroft is a jet. He's going to be in a lot of teams. Nick Cox, certainly has dropped off, so, keep him in mind if he can also have a good pre-season. Mateus Filippo, I think he's a really confident young man. Didn't that get talked about a lot? I'm just going to chuck much of these guys are place fillers, for the time. Will Phillips has to start get going for North Melbourne's sake. And, at this stage, I'm just going to literally chuck names in for the sake of it. Because there's always going to be guys that do just bob up, and we don't know who they are at this point, but at some stage we will. Joe Richards, and hey, there's always a bit of a rookie that jumps up, so let's just say it's this bloke. I mean, this is the stage of picking your side where you start to go, gee, my team looks great, but I'm going to run out of cash. But I actually think I'm going to be okay. Let's just scour our way through the sort of forward line to see if we can find any bargains. But I'm probably going to just round out with some rookies. Now, Horn Francis as a forward. Jesus, man, that just tempts you. Ben Hobbs as a forward. Doesn't that just make you really ponder your brain? 2 up-and-coming young mids, big body stars, but they're not there yet. So that will really be super interesting and ones to watch over the pre-season. Again, there is Nat Fyfe. I'm going to find it so hard to just scroll past Nat Fyfe at 313k in the bloody forward line. Absurd. Calls growing for Fremantle Docker midfield star. Talk to me about Nat Fyfe. Oh, you bastard. I thought it would have... Yeah, must be different. Must be different subscription, you saucy beast. Anyway, we're not going to find much there. But, yeah, let's just keep him in mind. And I'll just keep scrolling. I mean, if Taron Thomas can find a bit of form, and obviously he's got a few other things in his life going on that didn't aid a great year last year, but gee, he's super underpriced, isn't he? I always reckon Trent Bianco one day could be a player. That day certainly isn't now, but not for our sides anyway. You got Sheasel there. Aaron Francis, what can he do at a new club? Yeah, even someone like Josh Corbett, like I could genuinely see him in a pretty good Dockers side, kicking 1 or 2 most weeks. 1 week scoring 54, 1 week scoring 82. Like, it's not crazy to think that he could be a solid option, but nonetheless, we're just going to round it out with a few names and then just do a little bit of editing just to see what we can find. I think I'll have a little bit of cash left over. I mean, stuff it. We'll put in young Boomer. And we'll just put in young Davey there. So what, 100 odd? Yeah, 190. So there you go. Let's have a look at that. Digest it. Take a little look. I mean, I look at that and it's a pretty light on backline. You probably need... let's leave the back line for a bit. The midfield, I've still got Sarong in there. I did just say I don't like having those types in there. So, look, Sarong could be anything. He really could. I mean, what gets me is that it's so awkwardly priced and we've got so many guns. I tell myself every year, just keep it simple. Keep it simple in the midfield, mate. But if you look at his finals, it's real good. 33, 34 touches, 108, 128. Otherwise, it was a bit of an up and down year. Particularly the start of the year was poor. From round 8, it was pretty good. Aside from this 53, he was fairly solid. He's in that window where he could explode. But I doubt I'd start him. I'm pretty set with that ruck. And the forward line, I'm pretty happy to just muck around with. Look, I might try and see what will that give me. 689. I mean, is there much I like around sort of... Well, I really liked Walsh, to be honest. I thought he was just so reliable, but he's not on the track at the moment, which just makes you a little nervous. I mean, the easiest thing to do is just, go Miller or Mills or something like that. But at this stage of the year, that's just too boring, isn't it? Too boring to do that. Could I? I mean, realistically, you're probably only going to have one of Clark or Yo. I wonder if there's much just upward of that. Not really. I mean, the other option is to just go a premium defender as well. Who's probably my favourite of this? I mean, I love Dawson, but he's probably overs, and Sicily and Sinclair. Obviously, I love them as well, but you are paying top dollar. No doubt about that. Is Elliot Yeo on the track? No. Looks like he is back. McRae's an interesting one, isn't it? If he got back to that 120 plus form, but he just seemed to get squeezed out a smidgen, didn't he? He really did. Look, for the moment, I'll go Callum Mills. Just for the moment. And then, look, I'll just get a 102 bloke in here. Riccardi's never going to play. But hey, maybe Oliver Seston will, whoever that is. And then let's just make it nice and pretty and take that out and maybe just get a little young gun in. Oh, scroll too far. Oh, I really wanted Wardlaw. Oh, that's right. Cooper Stevens. That's right. I nearly forgot about him. Fuck, is that 365? Holy shit, okay. Forget that. I thought he'd be way cheaper than that. No, it is what it is. Just sort of, this probably isn't the most entertaining part of the video, but yeah, I'm just sort of looking at maybe what I could slightly tinker with just to see, what you could potentially find in way of a saucy little option. But I think at this stage, I'll just get some random because it doesn't really matter. I said at the start of the video that these rookies don't matter, and here I am dwelling over it like a nutcase. But I wonder who we've got up around here. Jack Vitale, Filippo, Ruben Jinby, Cam McKenzie. Look, I'm going to go Ruben Jinby. West Coast are going to struggle, so chuck him in there. But there we go. There's my team. Let me know what you think. Like I said, don't judge too harshly. This is just very much a first team with some speculative selections in there. Hopefully, me just doing this live gave you a bit of an insight into the thought process and And, let me know what you think. Like I said, is there anyone that I definitely missed that you think's an absolute lock? But, gee, I've stacked that forward line up. What are your thoughts on Fife? Where are these real bargain players coming from? Because at this stage, I haven't got too much real insight into it. But I'll definitely dive deeper into that over the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned. I'll talk to you guys soon. We'll have some videos pumping out. So, yeah, it's good to be back. And, hopefully chat to you soon. Cheers, guys.